one day I'm going to meet this girl. I just know that I am. Well, then we get quarantined, and I'm like, I have got to find a way to meet her. And so I decided I would do this Let's Be Friends Friday, where I would invite somebody I was following online to come and meet me on a Friday. And so basically, Jordan and I are going to meet for the first time, and you're about to witness this whole thing. So this could be like history made in just a minute. All right, Jordan is here. So I'm going to click on this little thing, and I'm going to go Jordan Dooley. Miss Jordan Dooley. She is going to be on, and hi.
Hi, how are you?
Good. For a minute, I thought it was a picture because you were like, I'm like, is this uh-oh. No. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
It is so really nice to meet you. I know it's a little bit kind of weird, but I figured everybody likes weird things. When you think like, I would like to meet somebody, like, what is it like? Well, we all are weird. It's all kind of like,
I agree.
I don't know how to do this.
It feels very unnatural because I am such a hugger. I'm like, hi,
right?
So I'm just like,
I'm Italian, so it's like I can't help myself, and Latina. I do feel that way.
I have Latina blood, so I have that in my blood as well.
I can feel myself just when I see anybody on the street. I'm like, I want to run up and just hug them, and I can't. It's so weird. So where are you quarantining right now?
Quarantining at home. It's been really fun, but we live out in the country, so we live on some land, and so we go walk and bike rides. So we've been able to get out without being around too many people or anything. So that's been a good brain break.
Seriously. Now, where do you live? Are you in Nashville? Why am I thinking that?
North
Thank you. Sorry, I should know this, but
no. Okay. Where are you? I don't know where you.
Okay, California.
That's right.
We're in Northern Cal, so it's sunny out. I actually have a tank top on. We're about to go bike riding as well. My whole family, we've loaded up all of our bikes in my husband's pickup, and my parents are here, and we'll go do a big old long ride. I love to go outside and exercise. Are you like that too?
I am the same way. My husband and I yesterday, we have these trails not too far from our house.
Yes.
And so we went on a long trail, like jog, walk combo. He's so funny. He's like, I'm not built for distance. I'm a football player. But it was great. It was so fun.
I love it.
We are the same way. We need like fresh air, driving with the windows down, bike riding, walking. So,
is it cold there? What's it like there? Is it warm, cold?
It's kind of that weird. So the Midwest has this weird season that I call like wummer. It's not really spring and it's not really winter, but it's like, it's weird. It's like that. We had an 82-degree day with sun like 5 days ago.
Yes.
And then yesterday it was probably 55 and sunny, which is still pretty, like, it's crisp, but it's nice. You know, just
yes.
Today it's like a coldish gray. So it's so unpredictable. I'm like, this is just our weird warmer. I don't even believe in spring. We don't.
I can't make up its mind. It's a PMS woman. She's not sure what she wants. Exactly. It does feel that way. It's going to be pretty much warm from here on out in California. So we're like, meh, meh. It's kind of a bummer, but we love the weather. It just stays hot forever. So initially you get all excited and you're like, oh, it's going to be so nice. And then it just keeps getting warmer. And I always laugh because I'm like, if I have to wear shorts all year long, that means I have to shave my legs all year long.
Yeah, right.
It's exhausting.
That's why we live in Indiana. And like half the year, forget about it.
That's right. Okay, so Jordan, tell me, like, how did you start everything that you're doing? Like, the way I found you, let me just say it this way. The way I found you, we were invited. My husband had a friend who was starting kind of like a mastermind group or something. And we got invited to join. But at that moment, we were in the middle of transitioning out of our previous job of directing at another organization. And we were beginning to go full-time on our own Truth Table. And so we couldn't actually put the money up to do all of it. But they gave us the list of people that were interested. And there was a group of you. And I was like, I'm going to Google each of these people because obviously they were invited to do this. They're similar, but I just don't know them. So I Googled you, and then I found out that I was like one of the only people in the world that didn't know who you were. And then I started seeing your shirt, you know, your brokenness is welcome here. And I started seeing that around, and then I just saw people posting, and I'm like, this girl is awesome. I love her. So that's how I kind of got to know you, got to meet you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so tell me how you started. I know I'm pausing a little. Sorry.
No, you're great. I always tell this funny story because I don't know if you're like this, but I used to kind of be ashamed of how I started because I thought it was lame. And so I kind of like, I jumped I always thought, oh, I would love to be an author and a speaker, which sounds really like glamorous and awesome when you haven't done it, you know?
Yep.
And so once I started, you know, picking up traction with my blog, I would always just tell people I started with a blog, which is a lie, which I realized I was like, no, I started with an Etsy store back in college. I was hand lettering. I won the handwriting contest when I was like in 3rd grade. So
you did?
Yeah, which is so random. Now my handwriting's horrible because I don't sell it anymore. But when I was selling it, I was, you know, putting it on canvases and stuff. That's how I started. And what I realized though, and I always kind of like really focus on how big of a deal communication is, because I had this little Etsy store, and then over a little bit of time I realized, oh, well, actually it wasn't even an Etsy store to begin with. I was just selling it to people I knew. And then I decided, oh, I could take this online. And then eventually I kind of realized like, oh, I could use social media to try to market this stuff. So what I realized though is that the store really grew because I figured out how to create content on social media that connected with people and developed a soul connection. And so I was like, people aren't buying my stuff because it's the best like hand lettered product that they could find. They're buying my stuff because they feel like they have a connection. They're sharing. So things started to grow from there, and I just got, you know, a lot more into the writing side of things, and eventually closed that shop. But that led to, you know, growing the sweatshirt shop and doing other things in small business and ministry. So it's been a fun journey.
So literally you just started and it kind of found you in some ways. You found it found you, but you realized that you had an ability to talk to people, and there was something, and I think that's something that I've watched you not grow, but like emerge in, is this storytelling about your moment and your life, and, you know, things that are interesting. And one of the things I've watched you kind of really unpack is the loss of the child, of your baby, and just walking through that. And I know so many women that are in that season, and nobody has words for it. They don't know what to do because it's such a personal thing. And I just have enjoyed, obviously sad for the experience ultimately, but always like, wow, you're giving women a voice for things that they're feeling on the inside, and you're validating them by your own story. And I love that. Did you plan on doing that, or did that just kind of happen?
No, actually not at all. I didn't even know if I wanted to talk about it, because I know that there's a lot of conflicting opinions on the subject. I know that some of society doesn't even consider it a loss, which I think is crazy. But you know, because of that, I was like, I don't know if I even really want to put this out there. But I also had this really big roadblock to where I thought, I had taken probably 3 weeks away from the internet when all that happened. And I was like, how do I just go back and be like, all right, let's just be inspiring and normal? Like, it was just really unnatural, to be honest. And so I also felt like I owed this child the honor of having its memory preserved, and to be like to really give meaning to a life. And I think that's what society robs unborn children of so often. And so I thought, you know what, and I think it's a lot of it's because of the shame and the feeling of, okay, I have to be in silence because I feel like my body failed, or people won't understand. And to be honest, I didn't understand why I went through it. I didn't understand that it's just as painful of a loss as if you lost, you know, a child. Like, it's a different type of thing. But anyway, so I wasn't really planning on speaking out about it. I was actually just going to share a memorial post and let that be. And I felt like I needed to be careful, because I never want to look like I'm looking for pity. And I think that's also a challenge when you open up about hard things in your life, you know? And so there was this kind of boundary that I was trying to be cognizant of. But it was really eye-opening for me when I just shared the memorial, how many women, I probably had say, I am going through the same thing right now. And then I felt angry. I was like, seriously, God, like, why is this even allowed, you know? But that gave me this fire to just say, like, okay, when it's appropriate, I will share bits and pieces of this healing journey, not even from the emotional side, but like even just from what God's teaching me, because I really wrestled with my faith through that, to be honest. And I think we need to be honest about that. I really wrestled with, you know, what's going on in my body, and I want to seek answers, and being willing to be proactive and give other women permission to take ownership of their health and of the things in their life that sometimes people say, like, oh, don't worry, it was probably just something wrong. And, you know, I think that's what we're told. And I think, no, if you want to advocate for your health, you do it, you know? So that's really the journey I've been on. And so it's been interesting, but also really healing and life-giving in so many ways as well.
Yeah, I love that. I was really surprised too when I got pregnant with my first child. And, you know, you start finding the research and you realize, I mean, I want to say that it was the first child that you have. I think it's 50% is lost. I don't know if that's totally the accurate number now, but I remember thinking, you know, it's really something that everyone's experiencing in some way, whether you're the dad, whether you're the grandma, somebody in your world is experiencing the loss of that child. And, you know, I don't think you understand it until I haven't gone through it personally, but I've had best friends that have. And watching them go through the loss and the grief and the pain and the what ifs, I mean, it's really real. And it needs a voice. So I love that you honored that.
Oh, thank you.
You honored that.
It was really it's been an interesting journey for sure. But I would agree with you. I have had a lot of friends who didn't, or even my mom. She said, I didn't realize how much she kept saying, I feel dumb. I can't believe how much I didn't understand about this. now that you've opened up about it, so many of my friends who I had no idea that they had gone through this. Like she said, I just didn't know, and now I'm so know. So it's been I think a privilege in some ways to get to share that story and help people understand, even if they aren't personally going through it or have.
That's right. And give them verbiage for if they do in the future, because a lot of our lives will be touched with something like that. So I really love that. Now I'm curious, not to like hard segue, but how did you meet your spouse? Like how did you meet him? Like did he play football? Is that correct? So I pieced some of it together, but I need you have to fill in the little things for me.
So we met in college. We actually had a couple of mutual friends because some of the guys that I had gone to high school with walked onto the football team, and so we had a lot of connections. We actually, I guess I remember. I think he said he had seen me on campus a few times. So like we knew of each other, but we were in campus ministry. And then it was my, oh gosh, now I have to remember. It was basically when everyone started using social media a little bit more, and it was still weird. It was before dating apps. Okay. So it was still weird to meet people on social media. Yes. And yet and so I remember I thought, I don't know this guy, but I feel like I know this guy because he's like liked some of my photos or something. And so I asked one of the football players that I was tutoring. I asked him, I'm like, hey, do you know who this guy, have I met him at one of the football functions or things? And he's like, yeah, probably. So then I felt that. I was like, oh, weird. Well, long story short, we ended up connecting a couple weeks after that and realized he lived behind me. Like his house was behind my house.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And so he was like, well, I'll just come by, because we both had thought we had met, but we didn't remember when we had met each other. Yeah. And so we realized we never had actually met. We had just crossed paths so many different times on campus, and because we lived probably by each other. So short story, he comes over, and I wasn't really expecting him to come over, but he sat there and we talked for hours. And it was just like he always says, it was like catching up with an old friend. Like, you know, we just missed the beat, missed each other's sentences, and pretty much knew right away, like, this is something. So
you did. And how many years have you been married now?
Almost 4. It'll be 4 in September.
Almost so 4. So you're right in that mix.
Yeah, we're like, do we count as newlyweds anymore? Like, I feel like we're in that kind of like, no, it's been a few years.
I know, it's such a weird moment. And then you start going like, we're 15 this year, and it's like really strange where you're like, wow, we've been together for 15 years. That is such a long time, you know?
Yeah, and it's such a gift too.
It is such a gift. I mean, I always say, I think our first 5 years were the hardest. And we got through those and we did better. But him and I are very different. My husband's he's a silent, strong, he's so consistent. He's an Enneagram 1. So he is like just regimented. He's the conveyor belt. Like and he is the Holy Spirit in our house. I said, if the Holy Spirit left, I would never know it. Because you monitor everything that we do. And he'll say like, I've been monitoring this. I'm like, oh my gosh. So I married my dad. But basically, I'm a 7. So we have this 1 and 7. So very like completely different people. It's been very fun to watch. And now we have 4 boys. So our 4 children, it's really wonderful to watch him as a 1, parent them. And we're just very opposite. But all that to say, when we first got together, we were the same way. It was about communication. It was all about the conversation. And it was more like, there's more to you that I just can't get enough of. And I'm not sure what it is. I'm curious, and I just want to be around you. And I initially didn't think my husband would be my husband at all. He was not my type. He wasn't who I was attracted to. But eventually he won me over, just being the good guy, just being that guy that was there. So it's been, and I always say you better enjoy your spouse because you got to be with them for a long time. It's a lot of mornings.
It's true. We have a, you know, we've often been told by friends that we just have a great camaraderie. Like we're great friends. I mean, we have a romantic relationship, obviously, but I mean, we can poke fun at each other. He'll throw me over his shoulder. Like we just have this goofiness about us. We talk in funny language. Like we have these funny accents we'll talk in just because, and it drives people nuts. They're like, can y'all stop talking in your language? But we just have a good time.
Marriage. So, I love it.
It's so fun.
And I love how at marriage too is you don't have to say goodbye to him. It's like I have everywhere I go, you can be with me. And if we're best friends, man, that makes it fun. Because my best friend's gonna go on trips with me. He's gonna, and it's different now with our house full of kids because we get in parent mode. But my husband, when we travel, my husband turns into the old guy that I used to date and love. And so I call him Travel Ben. And when Travel Ben comes, I'm like, oh, Travel Ben's here. And he's like,
that's hilarious.
So chill. Like, what is going on? And I love it. I love it. So we try to get away. He goes with me maybe once or twice a month on the road. And then that's like our time where we get to be together in that kind of more beginning season rather than this. But yeah. Okay. So I'm curious how, like, I noticed that you wrote your book. Obviously, it was an incredible selling book. I think I saw it in Target at one point. Or it might still be there. I'm not sure. But I know that it's just...
Target's actually done really well for us. I don't know if it's because, like, the reader is... like, the ideal reader is at Target. But it has done so well with Target. So I'm really thankful for that.
It's really cool, Jordan. It's really cool to see that. And I think it's the perfect place because I know... as a Target fanatic, you know, there was a season in my life where I had to be able to get milk and a t-shirt or clothing at the same place. It was impossible for me to load all the kids up to go. It was too luxurious. I had to be able to get batteries and lipstick. And so Target's been that. And
that's awesome.
I buy a lot of my books at Target. It's kind of where I pick things up and, you know, and it gives me, it's like that. I got home with a book. But it's been really cool. And I know you're writing a new book. So like, do you have the theme or the idea of where you want to go with that?
The way I describe what kind of the second book is becoming is how do you own your dreams and your ambitions and kind of really, like, I'm a very ambitious person, but I feel like our culture, there's almost like two camps that I think women feel like they live in. Either ambition is a dirty word or ambition is a sexy word. On this camp, it's like, don't worry about family, don't worry about like you be a CEO, you be a boss, you kill it. On this side, it's like, stay home, be ashamed of your dreams, don't go too crazy. And I'm like, where's the healthy conversation in the middle? And I think there's there's an attempt to kind of bridge this gap by saying, you can have it all. You can have it all. You can do it all. You can be it all. And I'm like, that's a really false promise. So my whole way, or the whole way I'm writing the second book is how do we own our ambition without ambition or the pressure to, or the need to achieve taking over our life. So it kind of kicks the
I love that.
Like, I struggle to stay motivated, and it also kind of helps tame the person who's like, I'm burning on all cylinders at all times. So that's kind of the tension and I'm now adding in the twist of, and how do you do that? And how do you still tackle your dreams and the calling on your life when life royally happens, when you experience grief, when you experience a hardship, when you go through something painful, like, cause I don't feel like books about go after your dreams ever talk about that part. It's always just this like rah.
That's right.
And I'm kind of like, well, can we all talk about the fact that you can be on like a straight track to achieving your goals and life can just knock you down and let you out? And where's that middle ground? So I'm kind of navigating a couple things, but really I just keep boiling the book down to how do you own your ambition without ambition taking over your life?
I love that because I do feel like it's kind of, I don't know, you know, it's either anti-hustle or only hustle. There's no like middle where as a woman who has built an organization and, you know, has a staff and has done all the things that I've been in my heart to do, I can't leave hustle behind. I can't just go like, I'm just going to be relaxed and let life go. No, I'm a hard worker. That's right. Like one of my greatest assets is that I'm a hard worker. And I think that it does require effort and grit, like really grit to like say, I'm going to start again. I'm going to try again. But then there's this also part of what happens when it doesn't work, or like you said, you have the unthinkable happen or something, and you really feel like you're betraying your dream because you're grieving, or you're betraying your, you know, desire because you can't do what you want to do at this moment. And so I agree, there's this really interesting tension, and I think we need content and messaging around that. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think we as women experience it a lot because live in that tension between the desire, often the natural desire to have relationship, family. I mean, a lot of this, to be honest, I base pretty much everything I do, not always outrightly. I don't necessarily like package it this way publicly, but I mean, everything that I look at is based on the Proverbs 31 model. And what I find interesting is that growing up, like when in church and learning about the Proverbs 31 woman, I always heard about her virtue and her honor and I heard about her work ethic, yes, but I never really understood how wicked smart she was when it came to finance.
That's right.
Like I'm going, why am I just now realizing at this point in my life that she was a kick butt investor and was unashamed to make a profit and to be paid for what she's good at. Like I think that can be a problem in the church world of things. And on the flip side, it's almost like there's like this false humility-itis that exists in that world. So I'm almost like trying to straddle the tension between kind of the traditional and the church world of like, sometimes I think there's a humility, but it's really a fear, honestly. It's false humility. Right. And the kind of then like the you know, whole independent woman, you got this, you don't need any help kind of movement. It's like, we got to figure this out. And I really think the Proverbs 31 woman is the solution to that. So
gosh, I love that, Jordan. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I feel like there's this, you know, the women that I mostly follow aren't necessarily faith-based women in terms of getting your message out, finding your narrative, all that stuff. I find myself, they're believers, but that wouldn't be maybe the blanket of how they do their world. But I'm looking for someone to lead me in it. Like at the end of the day, I know that I have to sustain a life. I not just sustain, like I want to thrive. I don't want to apologize, right, for what I'm bringing to the table and asking people to actually honor what's on my life by, you know, being able to invest in that. So there's this tension, and I find that there's some women that are out there that have really figured it out, how to not apologize and like get it out there. But I don't necessarily think that Proverbs 21 woman is their core belief. Like that's their core message. And so I love that you're giving like kind of like legs to what we know is there, but we don't know where to find it. And
no, I 100% agree. I mean, I've not learned any of my business savvy from people in the church.
I know.
And I always look at it like this. Like this has been a really big conviction I've had, and why I made a lot of pivots over the last year, because I'm on the board of advisors for a business school, and I don't know how that happened, but anyways, so I find myself there with all these like cajillionaires in my jeans, and I'm like, all right. But at one point, the dean, who has been a congressman in the past and just a really neat guy, he's like, look, I want to help our students get over this like this fear of like it, and he said it so well. He goes, it is not arrogant to be really dang good at what God gave you to do and get paid for it. And then he goes, I want to ask you something. He goes, when you eat a Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich, do you think, this is a good chicken sandwich? Or do you think, this is a Christian chicken sandwich? And he's like, but so often we feel like it either has to be like in this bubble or in this bubble. And like, I'm here to straddle the middle. Like, I don't think that things need to appeal only to one group or another when I'm teaching a tangible subject, such as marketing or book writing or these different tools. But I think it's like the same thing. It's like, if we're going to be unapologetic about our ambition, we need to be equally unapologetic about our beliefs and our convictions. And I think what does that look like as a woman of faith who's walking into the business sphere or into other spheres so I just feel that conviction of like, I'm not going to hang out in like one bubble.
No. I have to ask you, how old are you?
I'll be 26 this June.
Okay, I totally said it was wrong. I said you were 23. So I love that 26, to be honest, in my world. 27, 28 were critical years in my life, where I remember at 28, I was kind of like, this is who I am. Like I always said, like 20s were my learning and growing and gathering information. 30s were my editing. Like, I'm not going to do this. I am going to do this. That's me. That's not me. And 40s is like my mastering season, where I'm mastering what I'm good at. But I think for you, like the 20-year-olds, and again, I reach like 25 to 35s or more the world that I reach. So I'm sure you have a whole younger group of women that,
ironically, I have this about the same. My core demographic is pretty much the same. It's 24 to 34.
Okay,
right there.
And I don't know if that has to do with people on social media. I don't know either. You know, if some of that's just like the reality of who's online and where we're at. But there's this huge gap though, and I think that is what you're talking about. Is like, you know, we would use phrases like that secular, that sacred, or, you know, that's, I'm gonna go into my calling. Like, I'm gonna work this. And I cannot tell you how many people when I go minister that are standing in at a book signing line or somewhere where they'll go, you know, I'm a pharmacist, but what I really want to do is be in ministry. And it's almost like this glamorized of when I can get through all the basics. And I look at them like, please don't come this direction. There's so much room for you wherever you are. And what the problem is that the only women they see as leading are spiritual leaders that are preachers and platform ministry. And that's how they're looking at life. They're not getting that girl in the middle who's saying you can be both. And so, you know,
this is literally, like, can I just like, because I get that too all the time. And I mean, I did a little bit of like Bible highlighting education for a little while because I just liked my Bible study method.
I love it.
And some people were like, oh my gosh, you're a Bible teacher. I'm like, dude, I'm 22 and just teaching you how to highlight your Bible. I'm not trying to be a Bible teacher. But it kind of rolled into that for a little while. And the Lord just like whacked me upside the head. He's like, have you talked to me about this? Like, no, of course not. I was just doing what people asked me to do, right? But it's that kind of thing where people like, there's this conviction. I actually had a really wise mentor tell me, and I think part of the reason why I kind of feel like I relate a lot with what you said about how in this season I was kind of figuring some things out. Then it was my editing season, then it was my mastering season. I have felt this interesting experience where I've had to expedite that and consolidate that into 6 years because I started pretty early. I mean, I started everything pretty early. And I'm thankful for that. I'm so thankful. I had this vision of I want to be able to have a flexible life and create an organization or a business that allows me to stay at home. And now I'm able to do that into new seasons of motherhood. But all that said, you know, I have had to kind of publicly go through that. Like, hey, I'm kind of good at this and you're asking for that. Like, oh, okay, I'm kind of good at this and you're asking for that. Okay, great. Now I have my hand in 1,000 pies and I'm one of the best at. And what I realized was, I'm really dang good at these couple of things. I'm just going to zero in on that and help other women with that. But all that said, it really convicted me because a mentor said to me, she's like, once I kind of started really owning my business savvy and like kind of how I'm like, obviously I know something about this because I built it from scratch before anyone taught me, you know, and I need to be okay with owning that. And I felt a little bit of guilt around that because I had a lot of people think like, oh, are you just not going to help women with faith anymore? Are you just not going to talk about that? I'm like, I don't see how those things conflict, you know?
Totally.
But I would go into those spaces that were not, you know, faith-based conferences or anything like that. And I am so much stronger in my faith when I'm challenged, whether it was when I was in a sorority house or when I'm surrounded by, like when I'm surrounded by 100 other people who think completely different than me. And I get to have like honest conversations and just relate. That's where I thrive. And I was telling this to a friend of mine, I'm like, I love going to these conferences where everyone's dropping the F-bomb and everybody thinks differently. I'm like, that's awesome. I thrive there. And she's like, Jay, she looks at me, she goes, you are not a Bible teacher. You are a relational evangelist. Like you just love loving on people and meeting where they're at. And I was like, it was just mind blowing. And I was like, that's awesome. And I don't need to come in with this package of like, okay, I'm going to only be in this space because I have a faith. It's like, no, I'm going to walk into any space and just be unapologetic about that. Just like the pharmacist should, just like the, you know, CEO should, just like the nurse should. Like, I think we need to be talking about that more in the church because I think ministry is like, you have books and like, that's a great ministry. And like, we're called to that, but not everyone needs to do that in order to minister. So
that is
I have a lot to say on that.
Preach that. Well, and I'm glad you're writing a book on it because I mean, that would be something I would read immediately. I want this conversation to happen. I really, really want this conversation. And also, I don't know if you feel this way, but the church is so good at when you finally achieve success as in your field, then all of a sudden you're invited to the table. And so you have these people that now are experts in their field, but they had to stay consistent in the field that they were gifted in and trained in and equipped and stayed there. And then eventually they're, you know, like you'll go to a church or something, a community, they're like, here's Dr. So-and-so, or this guy runs a firm over here, or this woman, you know, runs this business. And it's wonderful. Like, I'm like, yes, I love it. But they had to ignore the parts of them that felt like they weren't probably ever acknowledged for years in the body of Christ and had to stay consistent in their direct gift and investment. And then eventually, I think God will open doors where that needs to be open, but don't off-ramp. Please don't. And I want to tell anybody who's watching this, please don't off-ramp in the idea that what we or you and I are doing, and we obviously have different gifts and graces, but in the idea that we feel differently about our lives because we're doing this work. And I don't. I think you can be miserable and be a minister, and you can be miserable and be a pharmacist. It doesn't. Either of those things, it's an inside job. So the idea that if I can get to this place and this kind of influence with this platform, then I'm going to feel fulfilled. No, you won't. No, you won't, because you've got to decide who you want to be. Yeah,
Yep.
it's
the biggest the concept of ministry as Christian celebrity is the biggest oxymoron I've ever heard. So for that, I mean, that wasn't my goal, and that probably wasn't your goal. Like, my goal was like, I want to start an Etsy store because I want to create income to help me be able to work from home when I want to be able to do that. And I went back to honestly, this hardship that we just talked about briefly, this miscarriage that we went through 3 months back, that brought me back to my why. Because I was laid out on the couch, I was laying down, and I was able to just heal and take the time I needed to grieve. And it hit me like, this is why I started anything. It was for the sake of when I become a mom, and I knew I wanted to be a wife and a mom. I knew I wanted to have the time the freedom and flexibility in my life. So I wanted to find ways to make income that would allow me to do that. It just kind of like snowballed into because I was unapologetic about my faith. And I think everyone who is given a platform, usually they don't start off thinking like, I want to get a platform. And I think we see that, for me to minister, I need to have a bunch of followers. I need to have a reach. I need to write books. And it's like, no, actually that you can sometimes do that and feel the pressure to do that and feel really miserable, and feel a lot of anxiety. That's not the calling on your life. So
I agree. I really was, there was a moment, well, let me say this quarantine situation is so making me find my why. Yeah. Like, I cannot tell you, within 24 hours, I had probably 10 events canceled in the 2 months. I'm like home with 4 kids, homeschooling 4 kids, like horrible. It's horrible. Yep. And I'm home, and then we're running our nonprofit organization, and we have staff, and we're like, what kind of pay cuts are we making, and who do we have to let go? I mean, it was just like my whole life turned upside down. And what I realized after we're hitting week 5 this week is I cannot tell you how much I have been able to find my why. Like, do I want to get on the road again? Yeah. What kind of book do I want to write? Who do I want to reach? It's been so good. And I think there's a lot of people out there that are watching this that are like, I feel like I'm antsy and I'm sitting here and I don't know what to do. But the truth is, you get a really luxurious opportunity to redefine who you want to be and what you want to start and really figure that out. And I don't know how you feel, but that is how I have felt.
Yep. I keep saying that a personal crisis dared me to focus on my why, and this global crisis is causing me to focus on the how. Like, what's the pathway in which to do that in a sustainable way to support the why? Sorry, I had to go get a charger.
I love it.
But no, I mean, truly, because it's so easy to go, okay, this is why I'm doing things, but then how we go about doing them doesn't actually support that why. And that was the problem the first time. For 5.5 years.
Wait, say that again. Say that again.
Sorry, hold on. Let me plug this in.
No, I love that because I don't want to miss that.
So I basically had this realization that, wow, who knows, plugging a phone in could be so dang hard. Okay. We're good,
Jordan.
Okay. So what I said was, I think sometimes we can become really clear on our why, and then we get back into like the hustle and bustle of life, and we don't have a clear plan as the how we're going to carry out that why. And so I think what can happen really quickly is the how kind of starts taking over, and then we aren't able to stay aligned with that why. And so this has been a really interesting season for me to realize, like, actually, I need to clarify, okay, I know the how now, or I know the why now. I know the why, and so because of that, I need to think through the how, so that the how and how I'm going about that is actually supporting the why. Rather than saying, oh, I know my why, but everything I'm doing in practice isn't actually supporting that. I think that can happen very often. So
I love that. I love that so much. And I think that goes down to starting with your core values, right? Like, what do I really want to do? I'm going to have to be clear, because opportunity can be my filter. Yeah. Opportunity can. Then I'll do everything. And then, I always say people will not apologize for burning you out. Yeah. People will not apologize for asking too much of you. That it's not their responsibility to take care of what you will do and won't do. That's your responsibility. And I remember, I love being a mom, and I'm one of those where I want to raise my own kids. I want to be the person there with them. And I have been able to do that with a lot of work and a lot of denying the things that are, would accommodate that. I've been home with my kids, but I remember sitting at a table, and the guys I was sitting on, I always tended to sit at tables with men because I was in a minister's world, and I was a teaching pastor at a church where we had a teaching pastor's team of guys, and they would go late every Tuesday. I'd go to this meeting, and they would go late every Tuesday, and I would feel anger. That anger that like comes up your body, and you can feel the heat.
Yep.
And I was like, how dare, like, they know I have to go at 5. I have to go nurse my baby. I need to go make dinner. I've got a full night ahead of me. How, you know, and I remember I had this clear moment where I was like, wait a minute. They are never going to apologize for keeping me late. That's not their responsibility. My responsibility is to say, I need to slip out. I'll be with you. You know, I'll be here next week. Yeah. But I have to own that space. And I think that's part of, you know, that part even now, like, what do we want when we get back going again in the world? Are we going to know, okay, this is my yes, this is my no, this is my why, this is what matters. Yep. And I'm not going to let opportunity hijack my purpose. I'm not going to let that. And so for me, I'm like asking myself hard questions. Like, if I'm never on the road again, what would that do? Like, what for my soul, my mind, will, and emotions? But like, do I want to be on the road? Right. And then what kind of places do I feel like I'm supposed to be at? Yeah. And, you know, and again, having been in minister for 20 years, there is a conveyor belt to everything that's out there. And ministry is the same way. It's a conveyor belt. You're sitting in the front row of an event as they're announcing next year's speaker. Yep. It's a conveyor belt. There's nothing against that. They have to plan ahead. I do the same thing. But you have to ask yourself, do I want to be in this automated reality, or do I actually want to own my own space, interrupt this automation, and say, no, I actually want to show up in this way? And that means I'm going to have to be a beginner in things that I've never done before. Yep. And so anyway, not to preach, but no, it's true. I think that's the thing that we have to re-edit. Yeah. And I think actually I talk a lot about something called the influencer complex. And I don't think this is even necessarily for people who have a ton of followers and, you know, share about their shoes. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is when you get to a position of influence or leadership or, you know, authority in a certain area, partially due to that conveyor belt, right? Kind of like I said, I was on a conveyor belt, and then I was like, wait, is this for the direction I need to be going? You know, I think once you kind of have a little bit of that established, it is really, really challenging to pause that long enough to say, hey, this is succeeding, or hey, other people are liking this, or hey, this has been going well. But what if like you just shared about owning your space? I found like I've coached a lot of influencers on business models, because a lot of times they're like, I don't have anything that's like gonna stay mine if this goes away. And one of the issues is like a challenge, and it's hard for so many to like true like Instagram influencers in this regard, for them to say, okay, I'm going to create my own product and I'm going to own my own thing, because they're not used to it, right? And I think that can translate to so many other. It's just this mindset issue. That's really interesting. I should do that. Like, I should do that, right? I'm like, why? Like, why not? You have to like skin your knees and do something new and be good at something, and learn how to be good at something that you're really bad at or don't understand. Yes. And I think that applies to anybody. I think the influencer complex happens. It's like in professional sports, they call it the hero complex, where guys have gotten used to playing in the NFL or the MLB or whatever. And when that career ends, they're like, who am I? And they can't just like go back to a normal job because they're used to and making millions of dollars. Like, so I think the hero complex or the influencer complex, it can happen. That's really interesting. In any space that we have success in, or we reach a higher level in, and then start to realize like, okay, I actually want to pivot, or it's time for a new season, or I need to be willing to learn something new. And so I just think that's really important to identify in ourselves. Like, am I operating under this hero complex to where I'm allowing God to humble me enough to make a change, you know? So I feel like I want to go study that idea, because it's just brilliant. I totally agree. I mean, and I think, you know, I remember thinking when I was running the other organization for More Revolution, I remember thinking like, do I want to stay in this big ship and be a captain and run this ship, but know that the board is going to dictate what I do, know that they're going to dictate my budget, know that at any moment they don't want me, they don't have to have me, or am I going to go start something that I lead? But that means I'm going to have to go back to cleaning the toilets. I'm going to have to go back to doing the simple things in order to build what I know for the future. And that's what Truth the Table was. And, you know, it's been a success, but you have to stop and like interrupt yourself from that automated thing. And I just love it. Jordan, are you going to talk on that hero complex at all in your book? I might. I'm about 9 chapters done, so I've got about 6 left. Yeah, but it's due in 3 weeks. So isn't writing? Do you like writing? Do you like writing books? Yeah, I think. I mean, I've never had writer's block in my life, which is an interesting concept. Can you pray for me?
My problem is that I have too many. My problem is the opposite, where I have almost too many ideas. So I like trying to sift. I'm trying to sift through what should I actually say, what do I actually say. So usually I have to trim things down. But no, I do actually really enjoy writing. And I actually came to that. I said, you know, I was on a long walk with a friend the other day, and or not the other day, I guess it was a month ago now, but, you know, on a long walk and just talking through a lot of what I foresee. And I was like, you know, I'm really okay with really being really dang good at my craft. Because yes, I'm a businesswoman, and I that's kind of my secondary craft, but the only reason I've ever been really good at business is because I'm really naturally gifted at communication, and business is built on relationships. And so I think sometimes as women, and when we're passionate and we have ideas and we have dreams and we see what Betty and, you know, Bobby are doing, it's really easy to be like, I need to do everything. And one thing that is really convicting for me is, I mean, I got rid of so many things. I got rid of so many profitable things where I'm like, this feels like business suicide.
You did.
Yeah. I mean, I closed the sweatshirt line last year. Not because it wasn't working. It was working. It was working me, though. I was like, I feel like it's mentally exhausting, even though I have people working it. And it was also partially for a couple other reasons that I'm excited to share that are more about the messaging and kind of my heart behind it, how that kind of got, I feel like, just misconstrued along the way. But anyways, all that said, I was like, I need to take a break from some of these things to really hone my craft and be so dang good at my craft that, like, because otherwise we're mediocre at a lot of things. And
that's right.
There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being multi-passionate, and like, kind of like you said, you have those editing years, but I think because of the responsibility that I've been given to steward, I didn't feel like I had that luxury to be like, okay, I'll figure this out in 5 years. I was like, I have a community of people that are looking for leadership, for guidance, they're looking for resources. I'm like, what am I going to deliver them? Lord, we need to get clear on this ASAP, and I need to run in it without shame. And so when it comes to with communicating, I'm like, that's my craft. And that's how everything started. That's how my little Etsy store back in the day, it was a words company. So I was like, words are my power. And so
words are your thing.
To be so focused on that and give it my all. So yeah, it's been
really I'm so excited. I feel like I cannot wait to watch this continue to grow and influence. And I just think you are hitting this like nerve in the body of Christ that we need. And I mean, in the whole world, but you're going to help a lot of women not deny their number one passion for the sake of the call, but to actually realize that their number one passion was the call. Yeah. I think you're going to get really clear on that. Yeah. And I love it. I'm going to champion you the whole way, because I just think you're going to be immensely successful. You already are, but I think that, like you said, that clarity and that courage to be just who you want to be rather than what was successful is phenomenal. And as you become a mom and do those things, I mean, you're going to teach women how to do both. It's just, it's powerful. And you'll do it. Yeah. You will, because you're already doing it. And there's room for you, you know, I just, that's why I wanted my community to meet you. It's just like, there's so many women that I love and have met, and they're profound leaders. But I want them to meet other people that aren't just on the conveyor belt, but they're thinking about life differently. Yeah. And I just love that about you.
Thank you.
And I just champion you from afar, from Northern California in my little small podunk town. You know, I just champion you. And I just think that there's so many, you know, I don't even think you've hit your rhythm yet, to be honest. I think you're just editing. You're still editing, and you're about to launch. And I think as you get launched, I think there'll be things that you'll be shocked at. And I just say that even prophetically. I just think you're going to have a very, very unique moment where you'll be shocked at what really takes off. And I don't mean takes off even just the financial world, but like synergy, chemistry. There's going to be something that comes out of all this.
That's encouraging.
So I'm very excited. I'll be over here watching you and champion. Now,
well, I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Oh, for sure. Now, I have a couple questions people asked, and I know I've like taken so much of your time. So
no, I have no plans today.
Now, do you have a name for your book?
Do I have a what for my book?
A name for your new book?
Yeah, it's a working title, but I don't know if I'm supposed to share it yet. So we're just gonna leave that one hanging out there in the stratosphere.
I know. I always wonder that too. I'm like, do they let us share this? And I was just talking to somebody yesterday, or with my community, and she just told us, and it was like, I'm like, I don't know, but just share it, and I won't tell anybody. But yeah.
Well, you know what's funny? The last time, I'm always hesitant because my first book titled something else. It was purpose, and it was such an. I was like,
wait, what was it titled?
It was just titled Purpose. Own Your Everyday was originally titled Purpose because we just could not come up with a title. And I was like, well, what about Purpose? There's no books titled that. The only thing that's titled that is a Justin Bieber album. And so they were like, we'll roll with that. And so for a while, it was about to be Purpose. I mean, we even shared that was the title of the book. And it never sat well with me. Like, it never felt like it was like it, but I didn't really have another option. And then some things changed on the publishing side. They wanted to extend it, give it more time on they were like, we want to put a stronger cover on this. I was like, well, if you're going to put a stronger cover, can we come up with a better title? And can I maybe fix a couple chapters that I don't think are very strong? And they were like, yeah. So it was the craziest publishing experience. But now I'm always like,
that's
amazing.
Share the
title before it's like in print, because I'm like, given my experience, it changed.
Who did you go with your publishing?
Waterbrook, Penguin Random House. Yeah,
it's a great one. Yeah,
they've been great.
Yeah, I always was amazed. The title, I'm not even sure that I picked the title. You know how when you publish, you're just trying, and you know you're nobody to them, and other than like so I did it, but yeah, I don't know if I'll do it again. We'll see. So okay, next question is, what is one thing you do every day during quarantine to keep you sane?
Oh, that's a good question. Either go walk outside or exercise. Other than Sundays, we take our Sundays to truly rest, but it's been really life-giving just to get moving for 30 minutes. And then the second thing I would say is I've been doing a lot of like business and personal development work. I've been reading the book E-Myth. Have you ever read the book E-Myth?
No.
It's so great for organizational leaders, but it basically helps you. It's an 8-step process to like pretty much organizational development. And it helps you really think through kind of that how piece that I was talking about. So we've been developing company like manuals and all those things that we kind of had, but I really wanted to know better about. So that's been really good, because as we grow our team this coming year and whatnot, I was like, I want to be able to hand them something and say like, this is why we're here. But it took a little while to get there. So anyways.
And what does your husband do? Like, does he work with you? Are you guys?
He did for a while, and he still does. He basically, his role with me is that he doesn't work with me full time, but he basically makes sure that we're working with the advertisers. He makes sure everything gets sent to the editor and uploaded. So he's got like a producer role in that space. Yep. But he also does his own consulting. He works with a PR firm and does consulting for CEOs on social media. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, kind of random, but he's
I love that. No, I love it, because you work together, but you also work separate. Yeah. And my husband's that way too, where he does our filming and editing and all that. He organizes our staff. He does all that. But then he also consults people with filming and editing and all those things as well. And I like that. I like that a lot. I will say, though, marry somebody who can help you.
Yeah, sure.
It's a whole lot cheaper.
He's great on the tech side when we need a last-minute video shot and my video guy's not available, or like we need to get something edited on like unexpectedly. So that's a really big blessing. But it's also nice that we have
such a big blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. My husband said, I'm not going to go to your family gatherings if you make me the tech guy. He's like, I'm not going to sit with your mom and your dad and your favorite people and like go through like, he's like, I'm not going to explain to them why they can't actually post on their computer on Instagram. He's like, I'm not that man. I'm like, okay, I promise. I mean, to like give a little preface, like, hey, Ben does know tech, but he's not going to be walking you through these things. You'll have to go to your Apple appointment that we made you at the mall that you refused to go. Take that Apple appointment. Go take the Apple, and then we'll be here. Jordan, I have so loved getting to know you, and I just feel like I think my community is just going to follow you and love everything about, what you're putting out there. And please, please, please send me one of your books. I would love to let our community know about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything I can do to champion or help, I'm here.
Awesome. Well, thank you for the time and for hanging out. It's been great to meet you. I feel like we're best friends already, but seriously, such a blessing. Thank you for reaching out. You guys, thanks for listening and hanging with us this whole time. I'm so thankful to get to know this community a little bit more. Come hang out. We have a lot of fun over on my side. And we'll swap this and do it the other way so my community can
I would love it. And Jordan, one day we'll see each other in person. Yes. And we'll be amazed at how cute we are.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right, Jordan, have a good day.
All right, you too. Make sure you save this. I want to see it.
I will, for sure.
All right. See ya.
Bye.